What is an apology, and why does it matter? When Trump's 2005 lewd tape released on October 7th of 2016, I was sure that was the end of Trump. How could a man who claims to speak for Christian evangelicals get away with saying such lewd and irresponsibly vulgar things? Today I want to introduce you to the rhetoric of apologia, and specifically how Trump used image restoration strategies to salvage his presidential bid. On October 7th, 2016, a tape was released by Access Hollywood. The tape was a recording of a hot mic. Billy Bush and Donald Trump were discussing what Trump would later call locker room talk.
You know, and
she used to be great. She's still very beautiful.
I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
Huge news there.
No, Nancy.
Yeah.
No, this was, and I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. Then all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
She's your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa!
Yes!
Whoa!
Yes, the Donald has scored!
Whoa!
Oh, my man! Wait, you gotta look.
15 or more Republican congressmen disavowed Trump. Wayne Grudem, a well-respected theologian himself, also disavowed Trump. This disturbing of a tape in such a contentious campaign should have been the end of Donald Trump, one would think, especially in such a negative media atmosphere. So let's talk a little bit about how Trump was able to get out of this mess. You see, Trump was in a hard spot. The values voter base is a large portion of the Republican voting base, and he had alienated them. In addition to alienating many women in the base, he alienated the conservative Christians, the foundation of the Republican Party, the values voters bloc. As a result, he could have lost the election. But Trump had one more chance because there was a debate only a few days later, the second presidential debate. Now you'll notice that Donald Trump's polling results here have him declining even before the release of the tape. That's following the first presidential debate, which was seen as contentious and angry and led to a drop in his poll numbers. And you won't see a change in the pattern of poll numbers even after the tape. And that's because during the second presidential debate, Donald Trump was able to use the image restoration strategies of mortification, minimization, and attacking his accusers. Before we can get into that, we need to talk a little bit about what the rhetoric of apologia is. The rhetoric of apologia, or sometimes called image restoration, is the rhetoric by which public figures make amends or apologize or defend an action to the public. This area of study is well established. The biggest theorist you need to know for this area of study is William Benoit. Benoit developed a relatively comprehensive categorization of all the different image restoration strategies that we see, at least here in America. So what was Trump's apology? How did he defend himself? Well, the first and most well-known defense that Trump offered is the locker room talk.
You called what you said locker room banter. You described kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly I'm not proud of it. But this is locker room talk. You know, when we have a world where you have ISIS chopping off heads, where you have, and frankly, drowning people in steel cages, where you have wars and horrible, horrible sights all over, where you have so many bad things happening. This is like medieval times. We haven't seen anything like this, the carnage all over the world. And they look and they see. Can you imagine the people that are frankly doing so well against us with ISIS and they look at our country and they see what's going on. Yes, I'm very embarrassed by it. I hate it, but it's locker room talk, and it's one of those things. I will knock the hell out of ISIS. We're going to defeat ISIS. ISIS happened a number of years ago in a vacuum that was left because of bad judgment. And I will tell you, I will take care of ISIS.
So, Mr.
And
Trump,
we should get on to much more important things and much bigger things.
Just for the record, though, are you saying that what you said on that bus 11 years ago, that you did not actually kiss women without consent or grope women without consent?
I have great respect for women. Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
So for the record, you're saying you never did that?
I said things that, frankly, you hear these things are said. And I was embarrassed by it, but I have tremendous respect for women.
Have you ever done those
women
things?
Have respect for me. And I will tell you, no, I have not. And I will tell you that I'm going to make our country safe. We're going to have borders in our country, which we don't have now.
This is different because they don't mean it. They're just boys, and this is how men talk when women aren't around. Now, whether or not you believe that to be true, it's not true. It's not. Whether or not you believe that to be true is irrelevant, because that's just what the defense is, right? It's just words. It's irrelevant because it's words. Now, we know from rhetorical theories that there's no such thing as rhetoric that is just words. And Donald Trump is displaying dangerous rhetoric that is an indication of a more dangerous character. But by discounting rhetoric as a legitimate critique of himself, Donald Trump is able to minimize the impact. The second thing that you see Donald Trump doing is mortification. Now, you only see this in the first apology video.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize. I've traveled the country talking about change for America, but my travels have also changed me. I've spent time with grieving mothers who've lost their children, laid off workers whose jobs have gone to other countries, and people from all walks of life who just want a better future. I have gotten to know the great people of our country, and I've been humbled by the faith they've placed in me.
But what Donald Trump is doing is he's being truly remorseful. He's apologizing to his family. He's apologizing to the American people. He's mortified, right? He starts off by not defending his actions, and then he minimizes that. So by recharacterizing rhetoric, he minimizes the damage while also appearing mortified, which is a pretty effective combination, because according to Benoit, mortification and making amends are the two most effective image restoration strategies. But mortification didn't work. Why didn't it work? Because it's part of Donald Trump's bravado. Donald Trump needs to be loud and obnoxious for people to listen to him. I mean, if you compare the response to the apology, which was negative, to the response to the debate, which was positive.
Get to some questions
Well, am I
from
allowed to
online.
respond to that? I assume I am.
Yes, you can respond to that.
It's just words, folks. It's just words. Those words, I've been hearing them for many years. I heard them when they were running for the Senate in New York, where Hillary was going to bring back jobs to upstate New York, and she failed. I've heard them where Hillary is constantly talking about the inner cities of our country, which are a disaster, education-wise, job-wise, safety-wise, in every way possible. I'm going to help the African Americans. I'm going to help the Latinos, Hispanics.
Okay, so during these clips, you saw a couple things. You see him minimizing it once again, right? He's comparing it to things like ISIS, and he's saying it's just words versus actions, and actions are what matter, right? That's what Donald Trump is trying to make you believe. Then he turns the gun on Hillary Clinton, and he says that her actions are bad, and also talks about her husband, Bill Clinton. So he's attacking the accuser. But more broadly, Donald Trump has been attacking the media during the whole campaign, right?
Give us a question.
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you stay categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
So he's able to paint them as focusing on words while horrible things are happening in the world. And this is a really effective strategy for him. Because remember that Donald Trump's goal in this debate was not to get back the Democrats. It was to get back the Republicans who he had lost. It was to get back the values voter base. And he does this by going on the attack against Hillary Clinton. Many people remember Bill Clinton's scandals. They're connecting those two things. One thing to note is the complete lack of discussion on gender issues from Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton isn't talking about gender, and I don't really see the media bringing up gender in a very concrete way either. Of course, this discussion has to bounce around gender a little bit, Donald Trump's view of women, but you don't see it coming up in the debate. And that's interesting, that Donald Trump was able to avoid the discussion on gender, even though that's really what he needed to answer to.